So this is an introduction into the meditation on appreciation or gratitude. The idea of this meditation is to try and internalize this emotion or this feeling into our minds. And there's a lot of confusion about what we mean by appreciation or gratitude. Some of the wrong ways of thinking about it is that you're trying to be positive, you're trying to put a good light on things, you're trying to change reality to make it sort of more pleasant. The reality is very different actually. What we're doing with appreciation and gratitude is through recognition that what we have in our lives is dependent upon others, is dependent upon many different factors which are not necessarily ourselves, then we come to move away from this negative attitude of self-concern, overly self-concerned, overly self-obsessed with our own issues and problems and things of this life, which only cause us more suffering and mental disturbance. So the attitude of appreciation or gratitude is moving away from oneself and letting the mind appreciate and move out to others. Not because that's unreal, but because that is the way that we exist. We exist very much in dependence upon others. The majority of things we have in our lives come through the kindness of others. Our body, our education, many of the things, our food, our clothes, come through independence upon other living beings. And recognizing that, appreciating that, is not going against reality or trying to put a positive slant on things, but is the way things are, is very much in tune with reality. So this meditation on appreciation and gratitude is doing that. Now, this is an analytical meditation rather than a calm abiding one. And the way that we approach an analytical meditation is that we analyze, we think about things in our mind that will be guided in the meditation, what we're trying to consider and think about. And when we come to a conclusion or we get a feeling from that analysis, then we take that feeling and we employ our calm abiding or our focus within our minds to stay with that feeling. And being with that feeling, resting with that feeling, focusing on that feeling is the way that we internalize the conclusion of our analysis. So in this case, we'll be thinking about the freedoms we have in our life, freedoms from being born in difficult places, in war-torn places, in places where there's famine or there's no freedom or difficult situations like that. We're free of those difficult situations, that's one aspect. And we think about the things we do have in terms of being human and being educated, being open-minded, being able to learn new things, having the things around us, the availability of new things which we can learn. So we think about the freedoms we have in our lives, we think about the advantages or the endowments we have in our lives, and we think about the meaning, therefore, that our life has, the potential that this life has. And we also recognize that having such a life is very rare, that very few people actually have the life that we have. Therefore, by doing that, we come to that conclusion of our analysis. We get to that sort of feeling of appreciation for what we have, of gratitude to others for what we have. And when we get to that feeling, then the way that the analytical meditation works is that we then focus and hold our attention for a few moments upon that feeling. And that's the way that this sense of appreciation and gratitude is internalized. If we can do that, if we can internalize gratitude and appreciation, then life becomes much more special. Every day becomes more meaningful. What we realize we can do with our lives is much more meaningful. And most importantly of all, that sense of self-concern and focusing on ourselves in a sense of isolation and separateness from others is broken down. Because that's the root of unhealth, of bad health within our minds, is isolation or separation. And we break away from that by understanding and recognizing, showing appreciation and gratitude. The meditation itself will follow. Thank you. So this is the actual meditation practice on appreciation or gratitude. Begin by getting yourself comfortable, upright, back straight, shoulders straight, head looking down, the eyes almost closed. Tongue against the top of the mouth and the hands either in the lap, the right on the left, with the thumbs gently touching or on the knees. And begin with 2 or 3 deeper breaths. Deep breath in, deep breath out, calming the mind and calming the body. One more long breath in, long breath out. And then bring your attention to the breathing, and for a few moments just stay with the breath going in and the breath going out. And then we begin the meditation by trying to put ourselves or imagine ourselves in places or situations much worse than we are in at the moment. So try to really put yourself in the position of someone who's born in a country where there's no freedom, where they're controlled in terms of their views and expressions. Imagine what it would be like to be born somewhere like that. Or imagine yourself born somewhere where there's constant war and fighting, where you're struggling every day just to stay alive. Or where there's extreme famine, when you're constantly plagued by hunger, with no idea where your next food is going to come from. Imagine being born somewhere like that. And then come back to your own life and feel how fortunate, how amazing to have a life like this, free of those things. Or try to imagine or put yourself in the place of someone who is much more physically or mentally challenged than you are, is unable to do many of the things which you can do. Or imagine being born somewhere or born as someone who's very addicted, an alcoholic or a drug addict, whose every waking moment is concerned with their addiction, nothing else. Imagine being like that. not just someone who is in emotional, very difficult state, whose days are like one long round of hell. Imagine being like that. And then again, come back to your own life and recognize how fortunate, how amazing to have a life like this. And then recognize what we do have, being human, being educated, having openness of mind, understanding. Having the ability to practice, to work on ourselves, to bring ourselves to better, more developed states of mind. Recognize how fortunate, appreciate how incredible it is to have all these things. To be in a place where we can study new things, express our views, learn new and healthier, better ways to be. Where we have clothes, we have a roof over our head, we have food. All due to the kindness, all due independence upon other living beings. Try to recognize that fortune and keep your mind with that just for a few moments. We have a life that so few people have. So fortunate. And then consider also what we can do with a life like this, the incredible potential. We can bring more happiness into our lives, mental strength, health into our bodies, health into our minds. We can create the cause for a better, healthier, happier future. And we can do that for ourselves, but even more incredible that we can do that for others as well. We can be an example for others. We can do amazing benefit for the world in general and for other living beings. We'll just spend a few moments considering how incredible our potential is. we can finish with dedication. Through this practice, may it be the cause for all living beings to be free of all of their problems and suffering. And may be it the cause for all living beings to experience only happiness.
Thank you for watching. We've been on location at the Miskawaan Health Group Retreat on Koh Samui in Thailand, and we look forward to you joining us here again very soon.